In this video, I'll be going over what this channel is all about. Stay tuned. Hello, my name is Michael and welcome to my channel. This is the introductory video for this channel, explaining what you can expect to see on this channel. With so many other YouTube home recording studio channels out there, really couldn't see the point of just putting another one together, basically repeating the same information that everybody else has. So this channel is going to be a little bit different. You see, back in the mid '80s, I went to a local recording studio just outside of Detroit that also served as also a school. I took every single class that they had. I finished their internship program. I even had a job as an assistant mastering engineer for a cassette duplicating company for about a year. Shortly after that, I put my own home studio together, and this was back in the late '80s. Back in the day where there wasn't as many people as there are today with home studios, because it was still a big expense. The price of equipment came down quite a bit, so more and more musicians could afford to put their own studio together, or have a small recording setup, but it was still a pretty large investment. So I decided to put my own studio together. I was focusing more on the equipment at that time, but then several years later, when I bought my first house, I built a larger recording studio that I was hoping one day I would turn it into a business where I would have other musicians come in and I would record them. On top of that, I already knew how to play a bunch of instruments. I knew how to play bass guitar, regular guitar, drums, keyboards. I wrote songs, I sang, so I pretty much did everything, and which went on for between maybe 10 and 15 years, somewhere in between there. So I've had a lot of experience doing that, and also technically am a formally trained recording engineer. During probably the late 1990s, after, like I said, writing and recording my own songs and stuff, it really never turned into a business. I never really felt like I had enough equipment to compete with other recording studios back in the day. And back then, without the social media that we have today, I was sort of writing and recording my songs in sort of a bubble. So little by little, I got less interested in that, and I got more interested in the internet, because the internet was relatively brand new back in the 1990s. So I got more into, building websites and some affiliate marketing and things of that nature for quite a while. Then I got to the point where I really didn't spend any time in my studio. It sort of fell into disrepair. And at one point, I actually just packed up the equipment and, kind of put it in storage in my basement. Then several years ago, I started watching some YouTube videos on home studios, and I was kind of amazed at how much stuff I still remembered. I went from video to video, and I knew about what they were talking about, and I knew all about what they were talking about. And I checked out some Facebook groups on home studio recording, and lots of people had questions, and I had an answer to just about all of them. And it was really strange after 20, 25 years, whatever it was, that I still knew all this stuff. So I decided to put because I had been building websites for a very long time, I decided to put a website together, which is called trackandsolar.com. I got together with some writers, and we put together a bunch of articles. And the idea is while I was putting the articles together, I would be building the studio at the same time. So most of the early articles were basically about the equipment first, and then we would start off by building a small studio and sort of build it up and up. And this was all going to be on the website. But like what happens a lot of times in life is life gets in the way, and then COVID gets in the way, and pretty soon I wasn't even working on the website anymore. So about a year ago, I decided that instead of going the website, which I figured that I would eventually get back into the website, but I thought, well, let's get a YouTube channel going first. This was about a year ago, and then I would get back And then whatever I did on the YouTube channel, I could post on the website and then sort of refresh the website and get that back going again. So I would have sort of both vehicles to, build my studio around. But I was having so many difficulties because I was overthinking things and things weren't good enough. And I was trying to figure stuff out and videotape myself at the same time and working by myself. It really became such a bother that by the time, and I was working on and off for several months on this. And finally, when I got to December, I just decided, you know what, I'm just not having fun doing this at all. So I went ahead and I got some software. I picked up a Studio One Sphere. It was a monthly plan, $15 a month, and you basically get everything. That seemed to be the best deal at the time, and I could leave it, and I could still leave it at any time to go with another plan. Being that I've been pretty much listening to EDM music for the last 20 years or so, I was pretty much doing what all the other EDM guys do, is instead of playing an instrument, just basically putting together music in my DAW. And so that's kind of what I've been doing for the last 6 months. I did, as you can probably see behind me on my synthesizers, I pulled out a lot of them out of storage and sort of set them up. They're not hooked up. They're just sort of set up in place. I went ahead and there was a huge sale at Guitar Center on acoustic foam, very expensive acoustic foam, but I got it at like 60% off, which it still turned out to be quite a bit of money, but this room sounds excellent now. So in other words, without videotaping or going through that, I just put the studio together. Primarily, like I said, the foam was on sale. I was going to, again, build a studio a little bit over time, but it was on sale. Instead of having the foam sitting in boxes forever, I just decided, let's just put this thing together. I got a couple stand-up desks here. In my next video or in another video, we'll do a little bit of a studio tour. But right now, everything is set up, but nothing is really hooked up because, like I said, I've been pretty much just doing everything in my DAW. I've got a bunch of loops put together that I need to finish. There's one song that just needs some final touches on the mix, and then I'll actually have one song that's completely done. But that's basically it. So getting back to my original idea, this channel is going to be more about how I do things as opposed to just listing off a million ways of doing something, because there are literally a million different ways to do different things. So for me to, you can do this, you can do that. There's other channels and other videos out there that already do that. Basically, I'm just sort of videotaping and explaining how I do things. A lot of it originated back in the day working with old school equipment, and some of it is now just the stuff that I've sort of discovered over the last 6 months. So that's primarily what this channel is going to be about. There'll be some how-to stuff, some stuff that I know that nobody talks about, which I run across that time and time again, that it's like, I don't see anybody talking about this, I don't see anybody talking about that. There's some old school ways that nobody uses anymore that can still work today and is still pretty effective. So there'll still be some how-to stuff, but the main purpose of the channel is not going to be just a bunch of how-to stuff, because there's so much of it out there. Not that it's not any good, because I'm watching it myself, and I've learned quite a bit by watching it. It just to start up another channel, repeating what everybody else is saying is there's really no point in it. Anyways, that's pretty much what this channel is all about. Subscribe, please like this video, so you can get an update. And again, this is going to be more of a journey of me getting back into things, teaching you some of the things that I've learned in the past, some of the things that I've learned recently, and you can kind of see how I do things. And there are some pretty good ideas, some pretty unique things that I've come up with over the years that might help you out in whatever your endeavors are. So again, like, subscribe, and stay tuned for my next video. Thank you.